Time now for Talk of the Town. And we just saw Brady King's story on the Broncos beating the Cardinals at Empower Field at Mile High on Saturday night. And we saw mostly backups. Again, we talk about score and whether they won or lost doesn't count, but how you play does count. And Nick, you brought this up before training camp. We were talking about the Broncos roster ranking, and I said across the board, the starters look great on paper. And Nick said, yeah, but it's because of the backups and the depth that they have. I said, well, we haven't seen that yet. At 2 preseason games now, we pretty much have seen it. How good those backups, draft picks, and free agents that they signed are coming through.
I think that's the overall vibe of the preseason training camp included, is the fact that top to bottom, I'm not sure any team has had a better offseason than the Broncos. They are dominating in every phase of these preseason games. And as much as the score doesn't matter and the result doesn't matter, I think that does. Coaches want to see you dominate at every phase. Coach Prime says it all the time. And if you're a Broncos fan, there are no notes here. You've seen just about as much good stuff as you possibly could so far.
We talked about how good the Broncos draft was, and I feel like we're finally getting to see that in action, getting to see R.J. Harvey in the end zone, and I became a massive fan of Pat Bryant last night. We already liked him, but he led the team in receiving yards, and this guy has, just talking to him after the game, he has so much confidence, and I feel like he is actually ready to contribute right away, and I think he'll get to.
Well, yeah, we're talking about 2 drafts and free agent signings here, and we're talking about Devon Bailey, who is listed as a starter at wide receiver 2, opposite of Cortland Sutton. But man, has Troy Franklin rose up and become WR2 in 2 preseason games in training camp? I think he has.
Well, no doubt about it, Lionel. I think he is going to be the second wide receiver on the field with Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims working more in the slot. But I also think this is an interesting conundrum for the Broncos front office as it relates roster construction, because you'd love to keep Vele, but they also have a lot of these undrafted guys that they really feel good about. The Jerwan Newtons. A.T. Perry, we haven't even seen on the field yet, but they're very high on him as he recovers from an injury. So I think this is a spot where maybe you shop Devon Bailey and see if you can get a 4th or a 5th round pick. The Texans just traded John Mechie to the Eagles essentially for a 5th round pick, and Vele produced more receptions, yards, and touchdowns in 1 year than Mechie has done in a couple years with the Houston Texans. So my prediction, bold prediction, is Devon Bailey is not on this roster come the opening of the regular season, but that just speaks to the wide receiver depth on this team and the fact that Sean Payton has some difficult decisions to make on this 53-man roster.
Yeah, on this roster, you could go from listed number 1 as a starter on the depth chart to being traded or released. Because, look, you got Courtney Jackson, who's shown up. You've got Trent Sherfield. Mm-hmm. You have all these guys in the back that have certainly shown more than Devon Bailey has in games and in training camp.
Yeah, there's certainly depth at wide receiver. I think the running back room is another one like that. It seems like Audric Estime might be the man out in that room because they just have so much firepower. We got to see everyone except for J.K. Dobbins last night. The way they were handing out reps, it seemed like they know who they like, and Audric Estime got the least amount of reps and got in the game last.
It was interesting to see against the Cardinals, they were running Jaleel McLaughlin as a gunner on the punt team, which I'm not sure he's really ever done in his career. But what they're trying to figure out is, okay, we have such a log jam to make this roster. If you're going to be on the team, you have to compete in other places than just your given position. Trent Sherfield is a special team star. So we'll see. That may be the difference for some of these guys. Can you play on special teams?
Well, we ask for your voice here on Talk of the Town. We want Broncos fans, viewers, to tell us how they feel about this team, questions, comments, concerns. One comment here is, how many plays are the starters going to go in the preseason finale? It's 8 to 10 plays. Another one, I'm concerned about the false start penalties, and that is something that Sean Payton hates. That's the one thing he'll bring up. Pre-snap penalties, and that's one thing that the Broncos have done a lot of in the first 2 preseason games.
Yeah, they had 7 of them. It's obviously a concern, but also I'd rather it happen in the preseason and get it worked out when they have 1 preseason game left. So I'm not too concerned.
We've mentioned this, though. A lot of backups playing, especially in preseason week number 2. So, yeah, I'm not sure how much that really even translates to the regular season.
And we got one comment that says, no questions or concerns. We got this. And that's how a lot of Broncos country is feeling right now. Okay, last week we heard more about Sean Payton's Super Bowl contender comment and that Bo Nix can be a top 5 quarterback comment. And I think, obviously, Sean Payton didn't do this on accident. Oh, my gosh, I just said we're Super Bowl contenders. No, he wants to put those expectations on Bo Nix and on the team. I want you guys to expect to be Super Bowl contenders. I want Bo Nix to expect to be a top 5 quarterback. No excuses. Think about it. Get to work every day. Work harder. Because I expect this of you. You got to expect it of yourselves.
Okay, that's fine. But also, he's directing that attention for those comments to himself and not the team. So what he's doing is kind of clever in that, yes, he is putting expectations on his group, a chance for them to rise to the occasion, but he's also giving them the safety net that it's him saying it, and that if things go sideways, he will be the one answering questions.
Yeah, I think there's more excitement rather than pressure. I think they're excited to finally have these expectations on them, and they want to deliver.
All right, thanks, guys. Great stuff, as always, on Talk of the Town. We're going to take a break right now, but we'll be right back on Denver7 Sports. Stay tuned.